Raw and Nerdy.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Raw and Nerdy. This is episode number 67. We are continuing our awesomeness trend of the gaming through the ages. And I am Joe the Wigit. I am joined by my fellow ultra extraordinaire nerds themselves, starting with Rook.
No catchy one-liners this time.
Aw. You nailed it last time. You were just done.
I know, right?
And of course, Archon.
What's up, everybody?
We are back. We had some big announcements for our network on our Starfield show recently. Starfield Raw is being shelved until further notice, so there's no new episodes coming out for that. We are rolling out a new show this week, though, called Avowed Raw. So if you're interested in that game Avowed, or just want to hear us talk somewhere, Avowed Raw comes out Friday the 7th. And we got more shows cooking and in the works and things shifting in the network, and it's all for you guys.
Yeah, I'm obviously not going to be in it because that film's during my working hours.
Yeah, which really sucks. We got to get your working hours
Wouldn't be against us
changed.
doing a No Man's Sky show at some point because a lot of our listeners...
Yeah, actually. And they're actually continuing going strong with those updates in that game. Like, huge updates, too. Quarterly. And they've been consistent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's awesome to see a game talking about everything they're doing, living up to the promises they made on release, failed miserably, and just kept pushing it. And now it's one of the best space games out there.
Starfield, take notes.
I still haven't played it.
You still haven't played it?
I should. I think it's on Game Pass for
No
free.
Man's Sky is really good. It's a survival.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the idea of doing a space gaming show at some point when your schedule clears up a little bit, Rook. Because there's no way I'm doing a show like that without you.
We'd have to do it on the weekends. Sadly, unless we record at like 10 o'clock in the morning during the week, I can't be on it.
Yeah, and weekends are tied up pretty much for me except for this show, for now.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a lot more cooking. Always want to produce new shows and have some fun with you guys. We might actually go into a third show being released. That's what we're talking about anyway. Because Raw and Nerdy is our flagship show. We're going to be maintaining this one throughout. So... yeah.
Plus, hopefully the goal is to also get video on these shows.
Yeah.
So you guys can see us and see our process and see the absolute insanely stupid things that we do while we're recording.
Of course.
It'd be so much fun.
Yeah. I'm an audio whiz, but when it comes to video, I'm terrible. So I'm relying on my two other nerds to help me out with that.
I'm teaching myself.
So once we get that figured out, yeah, we'll be doing some video editions. That should be fun. Make sure you guys, got your hair correct and you're, looking sharp.
What you see is what you get. You're not getting anything fancy. Although I might go get me some lighting to aim at me so I don't have this shadow.
Yeah, my lighting's terrible in my room. But I'm moving in a month and a half, so when I get the new place, I'm going to have a little studio space.
Sweet.
So what have you guys been up to, man? What's going on this week?
I
for
have
me,
been sick all
I ain't
week.
been sick.
Oh, okay.
He's been sick. I ain't been sick. We're good.
Thankfully, viruses have not figured out how to travel through the internet yet.
Well,
or I
actually-
would be doomed.
Well,
I mean, what kind of virus are you talking about? Because that's exactly how a lot of viruses
Biological viruses.
There you go. Well, my virus was not computer virus. It was my whole household, me and all but one of our kids has had influenza all week. My wife thankfully didn't catch it. She's been our lifeline, keeping us all alive because we've all been basically on death's door for... My daughter had it for 2 straight weeks. She was the plague bringer that brought it in the house and gave it to the rest of us. And
I think that's what my dad and my brother had because they were wiped out for a week and a half.
oh, so bad. Like, I'm still not even close to 100%. I'm sucking down cough drops while we're recording and hitting mute every other sentence. So, yeah, it's rough. Been hacking my lungs out, and we've all been running like 103, 104 fevers. And
That's a rough week.
It has been a very, very rough week. Hats off to my wife. She is amazing.
Much props to her for that.
But it did give me a lot of time to do stuff. I mean, I sat the days I couldn't get out of my bed. I've been binging my way through Suits again. Obviously, I'm on season 7 now of 9, so I'm cooking through that show. Each episode's about 44 minutes long, and there's 16 episodes a season. And I've gotten through 6 whole seasons in a couple weeks.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been cooking my way through that show. I'm really
I have a hard
enjoying it.
time binging through any show lately. It's like I get too anxious. I have to get up and do something.
Yeah, just get influenza, and then you won't want to get up. You won't
I'll
want to go
pass.
anywhere.
I avoided it so far.
So
And
my problem is shows I tend to binge. I usually binge while I'm doing something else.
see, that's the only way I like to watch shows is to binge them because I don't
Yeah. One of my favorite
for
things is to
instance,
do a survival game and just gather materials while I watch a show.
For instance, I'm sitting here just like this is what happens when I don't binge shows. I'm sitting here yesterday talking to one of my friends, my buddy Chris,
Mhm.
talking to him, and I was asking if he's ever seen the show Suits because I was telling him I was really enjoying it, and just out of nowhere, his wife in the background goes, "Oh, has so and so left the show yet?" And I'm like, "Are you flipping kidding me? Like, why would you even say that? Like, no, she hasn't. But now I know that like a huge something big's gonna happen with them. Like, thanks a lot. Like, that's why I binge shows because I don't like people spoiling things for me, and I don't like, I don't like waiting for the next episode. Drives me nuts. So, I just like to binge them.
Yeah? Yeah, you are that way. You've always been really funny about those ones that release monthly or weekly.
Yeah, I watch it right away. Like, as soon as it comes out so that no one can spoil it for me and I don't see anything on the internet about it or anything like that.
Could you imagine
Anytime what?
Could you imagine if a show released monthly? That better
Yeah.
be a production movie every month.
I want an hour and a half episode every month.
Anytime a big movie comes out that I want to see, I go and see it like within that first weekend because otherwise I catch spoilers and I hate that.
My girlfriend and I were thinking about seeing a movie yesterday, and there is nothing out right now.
Nothing.
Yes, there are. There's all sorts of movies out right now.
It's a desert for anything good.
There's nothing
There
good.
you go. Quantify your claim, sir. There's nothing good out right now.
Nothing good out right now. But I also, on the days I was feeling better and could get to my desk and stuff, as I said, I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Beat it. That game is so good. I forgot how good it was, and then as soon as I finished it, I played the intermission with Yuffie. The little it's like a little 4 to 6 hour depending on how you play.
Is that the remake intrograde?
Yeah.
Okay.
The intergrade, it's called an intermission because the mission so it's like another mission with Yuffie where she comes to Midgar to try and steal materia, and it takes place during the remake story. So like some points you're like hiding around the side of the building watching like Tifa and Barrett walk into Seventh Heaven and stuff, and so that they don't see you, and then you sneak around and stuff, and it's really cool. Her story's really cool, and she's an insanely good character in this game. Like, she's better than she was in Final Fantasy VII.
That's good.
Like, she's way strong. And then when I finished that, I did jump into Rebirth. I am only about 6 or 7 hours into that. And I was telling Wigit the other day that I looked up how long it would take to beat it.
Yeah.
And if I do all the side missions and everything, it says it should take approximately 160 hours. I'm like, holy cow, this game is massive. And it is. It is absolutely massive. But I did come across a glaring plot hole that bothers the crap out of me, and it was in the original game too. Okay,
you mentioned it, but you didn't tell me what it was. So I was curious.
Yeah, because I was going to tell you on the show. Okay, so
fair enough.
You know how in the original Final Fantasy VII, at the beginning of the game, like at the beginning when you first leave Midgar, you're in that city called Calm, and Cloud is telling them the story about how when he went back to Nibelheim with Sephiroth, and what happened, how he like went crazy and killed the town, and that's when Sephiroth went bad, right? You remember he's telling them that story? Well, then Tifa says, like, they go in more in depth with it in Rebirth, but Tifa at the end of the story, she's talking to Aerith, and she's like, the weirdest thing, she goes, maybe we had our memories wiped or something. She goes, but I do not remember Cloud being there when this happened. She's like, I remember Sephiroth attacking the village and everything that happened, but I don't remember Cloud being there.
Right.
And then in the actual Final Fantasy VII, I don't know how it's going to play out in Rebirth, but in actual Final Fantasy VII, you find out that you're not the soldier you think you were. You were really just one of the little soldiers that was there in like the helmet and stuff, and that's why she didn't recognize you. But when you're telling the story, she tells Aerith, I don't remember Cloud being there. And then in the next scene, she's talking to Cloud, and Cloud's like, what I don't understand is I saw you get slashed across your chest, and I saw you dying. How did you not die? And then she tells Cloud, she goes, well, after you left, somebody came and got me and took me to what do you mean after he left? You just said you didn't remember him being there. So how did
Oh,
like how
yeah.
does like what is after you left? So and so came and saved me and brought me to the medics and they worked on me all night. She says, but it's like, what do you mean after you left? Plus, there's other parts in the story where you're telling the story and she's like, Cloud says, yeah, I was shocked to find out you were my guide, and she's like, yeah, I was really shocked when I saw you too. But then you said you don't remember him being there. Like, I'm so confused. Like, like it seems like a huge plot hole. But
It's one of those where the editors missed a glaring issue.
But it was in the original game the same way. Like, you'd think they would have caught it between then and now. Like, I always noticed that back then, too. Like, her saying she doesn't remember, but then talking about remembering it. I don't know. But once you leave that first initial town after that, you go, like, for the first time, you actually go out into the open world in this game. And it's like, I can see where it's going to be a 160-hour game because the open world is massive. It is so big. And you can explore every inch of it. So
Nice.
I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with it, but then like because of being sick and my focus and everything, like I just haven't gotten into it yet. I've only played it for that initial day for like 6 or 7 hours or whatever. But yeah, I started playing that Satisfactory game because I kept seeing a bunch of people in our Discord playing it, and I'm like, I've been talking about this game for a while. I'm gonna try it. Been having a little bit of fun with that over the last day or so. So
Yeah, and I put about an hour into it so far.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Wait till you get further in. It goes from being interesting to being like there's so many things that you have to that you're trying to do that you just don't want to log off because you just want to get those things done before you can. Oh, I'll just get this done before I log off. Okay, yeah, that's gonna take you 3 hours. But yeah, it takes a lot longer than you think it's going to. I don't know. I think once I get a little further in, I think things might. I don't know. It's the problem for me is just there's so much moving around and it's huge. Like you can't do everything in like one little tight spot like you can some of the other games we played. Like you have to move around a lot and go from place to place to here to there to do what you need to do, and it just takes a while. And I know that you get like vehicles to help automate things, and you get like transportation systems and things like that. So maybe that'll help things move along a little quicker, but I haven't got that far yet, and I've put quite a few hours into it so far, and I've gotten hardly anywhere. It seems like I just finished my last like tier 2 upgrade, and there's 9 tiers of upgrades, and each tier has like 5 to 6 upgrades. It's like gonna take forever, and you have to do these really big, long, drawn out mission things to even unlock some of the tiers, and yeah, it's gonna be a while.
And not really selling me on the game right now.
No, you'll like it. Like it. That's what I'm saying. It's not like Icarus, for instance, where now that we have everything unlocked, if we started a new world, we could be like basically to the point where we're just building our houses and that's all we have left to do within like a few hours. But you can't do that with this game. This game, you actually have to play it and enjoy it. I like it.
I've been still enjoying the crap out of Icarus here and there.
Yeah,
The few
I gotta
chances
get back
to
into
play.
it.
I just can't ever think of anything else I want to build because like we have everything unlocked, we have everything built. It's like
We need to build Coruscant. Turn the entire map into a city until the game crashes.
that would take so long. I don't know if we have that kind of resources. But
Just
yeah,
take
that's
some
my
of it.
week.
Well, in Icarus, you can pretty much have every primary resource on unlimited with the deep mining.
With the deep mines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you'd actually have a hard time getting to those deep mines if you built the entire landscape as one city.
No, you just build like little temples and stuff, like beacons where the deep mines are.
Yeah, I have
pathways and roads
beacons.
to them.
I have those beacons set everywhere there is one right now, so I mean we know where they're at.
True. Just build towers. My issue with Icarus is it's limited on design choices, and you can't build circles.
It's very limited.
Yeah.
That is the big downfall for me.
They did
is I
another
can't
big
build
update
circles.
for one of my all-time favorite ones, though. Survival
Shrouded?
games. Enshrouded, yep.
I still gotta get
I
back in
almost
there
thought
and finish my
about-
tower.
I almost thought about asking you to put the server up.
I have it ready to go. If you guys ever want it back up, I'll pop it right up.
Okay.
I was building my little village because I was waiting for them to get more things in the game that I can populate my village, and now you can.
Right.
And they did a lot of actually building was the big thing for this update.
Yep.
You can now build in first person and
They
do
added
finer
a
details.
whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Me and that's what me and Chris were talking about when his girlfriend decided to spoil my show. You're talking about Enshrouded and how he said if some people started playing, he'd play again too. And it's like, oh, I could get Joe to restart that server.
I can. I have no problem with that.
I'm willing to get back in it.
Yeah, I love that game.
All right, so let's get into my week.
Yeah.
Let's see. I played some Star Wars Outlaws. I didn't play it on release, so I don't know much about the issues that happened on release. But a lot of people's complaints are that it's too repetitive. This game literally reminds me of, what's the name of that one game? Starts with an F. Far Cry. On how repetitive it can get. But
yeah, that's what a lot of people said, that it was very repetitive. A lot of the scenes were used over and over again. There was a lot of glitches.
It looks like they've cleaned up quite a bit. I haven't had a lot of those.
Yeah.
But I'm loving the game. The stories are pretty interesting so far. Customizations are limited right now, but I'm still fairly early in the game, so I haven't gotten far enough to see what all gets customized. Then I started working on my Super Star Destroyer some more. That is becoming a work in progress because by now I would have been done with like 2 other models.
Well, this thing's huge, so
10,000 pieces.
It is a Super Star Destroyer, not just a regular.
Huge. Well, if I bought the Lego regular one, it'd be the same size, but that's because nothing is built to scale, you know. If I was to build this to scale with the regular Star Destroyer, I would have to have like a city block and a lot more Legos. Then I got my tax return, and I've been sitting here pondering for the past few days. I want more monitors. I want better monitor. However, I also want to update my graphics card. I'm leaning more towards the graphics card because a monitor I can upgrade at any time and not have to worry about it getting outdated, while graphics cards can get outdated fairly quickly, and my 2070 Super is getting to the point it needs to be updated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still handling everything I'm throwing at it, but with the 5090 coming out, and I thought about buying that, but I don't want to throw $2,000 just at a graphics card.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing is like, what phone was he using to measure it? I think he was using the iPhone to measure it, and it's like 2.5 phones long.
2.5 phones.
It's massive. So I've heard like a lot of people are saying that they're like, well, from what I've read, a lot of people are saying that they are going to they're trying to upgrade to the like 5080 or the 5090 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And realizing that in order to do it, they have to upgrade just about everything else in their box. So like, be careful. Because it requires a really high power supply. You have to have like a certain amount of like fans to even support, like keep it cool.
Yeah,
and
if I did that,
it's a beast.
If I did that, I would liquid cool my system. Either that, or I'd make a mineral oil system. But no, I'm looking at the 4000 series. I'm looking at 4000 series right now.
The 4000 series are still great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and significantly cheaper than $2,000.
Significantly. Yeah,
and I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about breaking my. They actually send a brace for this new card, so that way you don't have all that weight just sitting on the back plane of your computer and the motherboard.
Right.
Because of how huge it is.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
And I've started my new build in Icarus this week and last week. Now I'm building a keep in between 2 mountain peaks, and I'm actually thinking of doing it not like high fantasy big castle type keep, but just a walled small main long building with a couple of shops and stuff, like you're going into a walled city. That's going to be my build there, and I'm going to have to work on it because I want to actually make it where you don't touch dirt walking up to each level. Each level will be, and there'll be stairs going down from each level to the next level.
Yeah, I finally went up there and checked it out. I saw your basically wall that you have at the moment.
Yeah, it's just a wall because, well, building the concrete took forever, and now getting all the pieces together to build the wall patterns, the stone brick pattern or stone pattern to put on the wall, is taking a minute. I think it'll look good when I'm done, but like I said, my biggest issue is you can't build circles. That is annoying.
Yeah.
And of course, I got back into listening to Critical Role's Campaign 2. I need to catch back up on that. I think they're in the middle of Campaign 3 right now, so I got a lot of catching up to do. That's pretty much been my week. Nothing too exciting.
No, that was good, though.
Yeah, I mean, nice, easy week.
My week's pretty short, but I've been super busy with work like usual. 2 or 3 hours overtime every day. A lot of things happening with work. So IT has been crazy. My bosses made a huge mistake, so we're still working on fixing it. I did play Satisfactory a little bit. Played like Icarus when I could, but I spent a lot of time this week actually prepping for a new show, getting Avowed Raw ready and going. So if anyone knows Obsidian Entertainment's like team, let me know so I can reach out to them. Been trying all day to get a hold of them.
Or if Obsidian actually listens to us, that'd be great too.
Have you checked on Discord? That might be a decent. They probably have a Discord.
I didn't find their Discord yet. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they probably have either an Avowed Discord or an Obsidian Games Discord, and I bet you can reach out to somebody through there.
Probably.
I
started
already joining it.
Yesterday. My girlfriend and I, she's been sick this week, so we decided just to stay in and relax and watch a show. And I've been talking to her about The Office, and she's never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't really either. Surprisingly enough.
Which is a crime. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's in my top 3 for sure. And she actually has really, really enjoyed it. We got to season 2 last night. So I'm excited to watch it with her some more. And
nice.
I've been reading up on Subnautica 2. That's one of my favorite survival games, but the only downfall was the first Subnautica was it was single player only. In the 2, they're making it multiplayer. If you guys haven't tried Subnautica, I highly recommend it.
I watched a friend of mine play it. I have not played it yet.
I have never played it or watched it.
The development team gave me a copy of it, and I was streaming it for a while, and I got the expansion for it they did with it, and it's so much fun. I think I've beaten it twice all the way through, where I just couldn't do anything else. But it's exciting, it's fun, and Subnautica 2 looks so much better. On that note,
I didn't realize Obsidian Games was the one who did Grounded. I like that game. That's a fun one.
They did a lot of great games.
In 5 seconds, I had that link, added Discord, and sent y'all the invite.
Yeah, I'm in there already.
They did actually arguably one of the best Fallouts, New Vegas.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So they've got a really good track record. So I'm excited to see how Avowed looks and plays.
One thing I didn't realize until I was doing a little research on Avowed because of the show is that Avowed is going to take place in the Pillars of Eternity world. And I played Pillars of Eternity, and I really liked that game. So that kind of makes me a little more excited for Avowed, too.
We have to get through Avowed 1 first.
Huh?
Bad joke. Really terrible joke.
Wow.
So
Okay.
tonight's episode, we are talking about PlayStation 2. We are finally
PS2.
there. And I believe I said we're doing GameCube next week?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Xbox. Okay.
An Xbox, yep.
One of the games on my list I had to remove from my PlayStation 2 list because I actually played it a lot more on GameCube. So it'll be on that one instead.
One of the games on my list might actually be on both my PlayStation and GameCube list because I played it equally on both.
If it works, it works. The PlayStation 2 was released October 26th, 2000. For some reason, it blows my mind that was 25 years ago. Almost 25 years ago. And it is the highest selling game console of all time so far, as of today. And it was widely reviewed as one of the best systems ever made. I don't know if that was because of just the support, the third-party support it had, because it released 4,000 games worldwide. But
wasn't it also the first system that you could play online?
Yeah, because they had the network adapter you put into it.
Yep.
Oh my lord, I gotta change my list.
Yep.
I just thought of something.
Yep. I had a feeling that was gonna happen.
Say yep one more time.
Yep. I ain't scared.
Give me a second here. I just gotta move some things around for
All
a
right.
second.
Well, the reason why I think it was one of the best is because it was the most updated graphics ever at that time. Like you said, it had a lot of support. A lot of third-party hardware came out with it too.
And it was also the first. The PS2 was the first system that introduced the DualShock controller, and that's always been one of my favorite controllers. I love the DualShock controller.
Yes, it was so good. It fit well, and it operated well. It was just great.
So I think another reason why is that is when video games started figuring out how to make a controller work well.
Yeah.
Yep.
The video games, not the software, not the hardware components, but the software. Actually mapping out the controller to where it's more functional than what it was on PlayStation and on the 64.
If you map out
64.
like the leaps and achievements of the gaming world, the 6th generation where PlayStation 2 is, it was probably one of the biggest leaps in terms of technology and innovation.
It was huge. It was
It
huge.
was. But this was also during the peak where everything was updating at a high rate of speed, where your hardware pretty much got outdated on a computer within 6 months.
Yeah.
Modern days, they've slowed down significantly, and I think that's the reason why you don't see as many innovations as you did back then on game console. But I really like the PS2. Making my list was hard because I did play a lot of games on that system.
Yeah.
Yeah, making my list was pretty difficult as well.
I forgot that the PlayStation 2 was backward compatible completely with PlayStation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Controller and games.
That's why everybody was upset with PlayStation when the PS3 came out and it wasn't completely backwards compatible.
Yeah.
It was when it first came out.
Yeah.
It was the second generation of the PS3 that was not backwards compatible.
Because it was too expensive doing the backwards compatibility engines for the hardware needed for it.
Yep.
So they had to make it cheaper.
Which I find funny because you can run an emulator, and as long as you know how to get the right disk drive to plug in, you can actually emulate your PS1
That's
game.
nowadays. Back then,
Yeah. I was talking to a guy that runs one of the local game stores here. He does a lot of like old school games and things like that, and he does like nostalgic stuff. He has like all the systems you can buy and things like that. And he said that he has probably 50 or so PS3s on his shelf. He said he hardly pays anything for them because they're a dime a dozen. He said, but if he ever gets a backwards compatible one, he will have it sold within 5 minutes of it hitting the shelf. He said if anybody got wind that he had a backwards compatible PS3 in his store, it would be gone in seconds.
Yeah.
So
Because that's one thing I wish they would have done with the PS5 is make it fully backwards compatible with PS1 games. Because there's a lot of old PS1 and PS2 games people like that are not big popular games.
yeah, but
it continued to be produced until 2013, well into the era of PlayStation 3, and was more popular than PlayStation 3 for a while.
for a long while, it probably still is. Still more popular than the PS3.
Well, you gotta remember during the early time of PS3 and the later end of PS2, everything was being made for PS3 and PS2, just like PS3 and PS4, and then PS4, PS5.
Right.
So let's get into our top 10s.
Let's do it. Who's first?
Rock, paper, scissors. Well, who went first last time? I think Rook did, because we was antsy about it.
Yep.
So it's going to be between me and you, Archon.
Rochambeau it.
I'll go first. I'll do it.
No, I want to go first.
Then you do it.
All right, I'll go first. All right, True Archon style. 2 honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1 was Metal Gear Solid 2.
It's a good one.
Arguably the best Metal Gear Solid game out there.
I beg to differ on that one, but okay.
I said arguably.
Arguably,
I'm arguing with
he's arguing with
you.
you about it, yeah.
And my second honorable mention was Jack and Daxter.
I've never played that series.
I did.
I did like
actually pretty
it
fun.
was a fun series.
It's one of those games that I play with my son because he was still pretty young when the PlayStation 2. Well, he was very, very young. He was like 3 or 4 when we really started playing it.
Yeah,
because he was
Jack
born.
and Daxter was fun.
My son was actually born
He was
few
definitely
days
born
before the PlayStation 2 released.
I was gonna say he
Like,
was born
like 5 days before.
around that era.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? I'm gonna shock you. I want to see Widget's face when I say this. My number 10 game on my
I was
list
shocked.
is Kingdom Hearts.
No, I'm not surprised by that.
Is number 10.
Yeah.
I was surprised that it was so far up the list, but I couldn't put it up any further because
I would have
of
been
the games that are
surprised,
above it.
more surprised if it didn't make your list.
Well, it's my number 10, and I'm shocked because I wish I could have moved it up, but the games above it just...
Like Kingdom Hearts 2?
We'll see. We'll see. Number 9.
That one doesn't make his list.
Number 9 was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
That didn't even cross my mind to make my list.
I never played it.
It's just an
Really?
action RPG. That's all it is.
Yeah, I never
It's an
played it.
ARPG with a D&D feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good game. You should play it. You're doing yourself a disservice, sir. Number 8, Resident Evil 4.
I was
Resident
never a big
Evil-
fan of Resident Evil.
The only one I was a big fan of, and I didn't put it on my PlayStation list because I thought it was PlayStation 2 for some reason, was Resident Evil 2.
4 is probably one of my favorites. I really, really liked 4, and it's really good, and there's a reason why they remade it for PS5, like remastered it, because it's so good. It's one of the best ones there is. So it had to be on my list. Number 7, Silent Hill 2. Probably one of the scariest games you'll ever play in your life.
That's what I've heard. I never liked horror games, so I don't like horror movies.
Silent
Actually-
Hill 1 was terrifying. Silent Hill 2 was just keep you up at night scary.
Fear scared me more than Silent Hill did.
Silent Hill 2, I still get flashbacks of that game. Number 6, I could have picked any of them, but I went with Grand Theft Auto Vice City because that was my favorite between 3, Vice City and San Andreas. That was my favorite, and I played the snot out of all those Grand Theft Auto games.
Who didn't?
I just chose Vice City because that was the one. Yeah, that's because your mom probably wouldn't let you play it. It was too fast.
I was definitely an adult by that time. I just wasn't really into Grand Theft Auto at that time.
Number 5 on my list. Sorry if you hear my cough drop. I can't help it. It's either that or cough in your guys' face. Apologize. But
Amazing.
number 5 on my list is Kingdom Hearts 2. Of course, that was on the list.
I say it had to be top
I'm so
5.
surprised it's so high up.
It's because the next 4 games have a very special place in my heart. A very, very special place in my heart. Especially number 4, Champions of Norath.
I've never played it.
It's another ARPG, but it's set in the EverQuest world because it's Norath.
And here I thought that we weren't going to have any games in common.
You like Champions of Norath too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I like both of them. I didn't put both of them on my list because I had Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance on there. Instead, Return to Arms would have been my number 9, but Baldur's Gate was a slightly better game. They're very similar games in playstyle, but I thought Baldur's Gate had a little bit better of a story than Return to Arms did. But Champions of Norath, I would still pick that game up today and play it right now if I could. I mean, I can play emulators and stuff of it, but the I've tried finding emulators for it. Every one I find is like slightly buggy and doesn't play right. But that game is so much fun. Love it. Love it. Number 3, out of all the games on this list, might be the game I played the most. It's the game that I broke at least 3 controllers that I can think of playing because I played it so much, and that was Guitar Hero 2.
I knew that was going to be on your list.
I love Guitar Hero, and I wish they would bring it back for PS5 because those games are so fun. Like, I don't know why they stopped making them.
They need to do a Guitar Hero VR. That way you're actually like on the stage looking over an audience.
Oh, dude, a Guitar Hero VR would be amazing.
That would be incredible. You heard it. We want royalties.
Number 2, I will put down the gauntlet right now. There's no one that listens to this show. There's no one on this show. There's no one that will ever listen to this show that is going to beat me at Soul Calibur 2. Gauntlet thrown down. That game.
I probably wouldn't beat you, but it's on my list too.
That's one that I told you guys about before where I did a tournament and I won the entire tournament by putting on a random character select because I could beat you with any character in that game. I played it so much. I knew how to use every character flawlessly. I was so good at that game. That was my jam. And that's the one that I said will probably be on my GameCube list too. Because...
Was it on GameCube?
Yeah. And it was on Xbox, I think. And depending on which version you had, if you had the PS2 version, I think it was you played as Link. Like Link was in the game. If you had the GameCube... No, the GameCube version was Link because he's Nintendo.
Yeah.
The PS2 version, I think, had Darth Vader. I
remember that. Yeah, they did have special characters based on the system.
And the Xbox version had a different Yoda. I think it was in the Xbox version or something. But yeah, and my number 1 game, if you know me at all, it's no surprise. EverQuest Online Adventures. I probably play besides Guitar Hero. I probably have more hours into that game than every other game I've played on that system combined. I played that game so much, and it was one that you had to be online for. It's the game that originally I left playing the original EverQuest back in the day for this game because it was so good. It had a great story, was in the EverQuest world. You could play it with a controller. It was, loved it.
All right, so Soul Calibur 2. Nintendo had Link for the GameCube. PlayStation's version had the character Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, and then Spawn was on the Xbox. You're thinking about Soul Calibur 4 for Yoda and
Darth Vader, yeah. Okay, yep, that's what it was. I know that a lot of the Soul Calibur games did that gimmicky, buy it on this system, you get this character thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pushing the console war.
Yep.
My list actually had 2 things in common with you, which really surprised me.
Let's see how many me and you have in common.
Only 2?
But I'm surprised one of them actually wasn't on your list.
Really?
I don't know.
What'd I forget?
You'll see.
Let's let him get through his list.
Number 10, Soul Calibur 2. It was the only fighter game I loved on PlayStation 2, and I played the snot out of it. I was not as near as good as you, I think it was only decent with 2 characters, but yeah. Tony Hawk Underground was the last Tony Hawk game I ever played. That was my number 9.
I played it, but didn't make my list.
I really enjoyed it. But see, the thing is about this is like there's 6 games on my list that I played to, it was ridiculously amounts to where I didn't really play many other games other than those 6 throughout the entire lifespan of PlayStation 2. So these top like from 10 to 7 are the ones I would play periodically in between. When number 8 was Burnout 3 Takedown. Burnout 3, yeah, the Burnout games are so fun because of the collision graphics and physics they put into the game. And they had a mode where you had to purposely crash to see how much damage you can do, like driving through crossways through a freeway.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep. It was so much fun. Number 7, Twisted Metal Black.
That was on my list, but as I started remembering games, it kept going up until it got booted off.
Yeah, I played it, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. That out of all the Twisted Metals, that was my least favorite.
I kept this a secret, but we actually had 3 games in common.
Oh.
My number 6 is EQOA.
Yeah, I knew it. That's the one that when you heard the adapter, you're like, oh, I gotta change something.
No, that was something different.
Oh, really?
That was my number 2. I can't believe I forgot that. You absolutely needed the adapter for my number 2. That game, though,
you did for EQOA too.
It nearly ruined my marriage. That's a whole different story. I'm not going on the air.
Yeah.
It was actually the first dagger in the death of my marriage. My number 5, I spent so much time in, it was insane, but it got too buggy and people were hacking it too much. It was my first ever really online multiplayer game I played all the time. SOCOM. Loved it.
Yeah, that made my list.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
I played SOCOM. Played a few of them.
So SOCOM, those who don't know, it's a third-person shooter, and you did it in teams of 13 against another team of 13, and if you died, you were done. You got taken out, you were done. It's the last man standing type scenario. And I had one game, and I'll never forget it. Me and my 2 buddies played that game ridiculously insane amounts of time. I had a 13-kill game. I single-handedly took out the entire team.
Nice.
The only time I ever did that. Number 4, Champions of Norath. I did play the snot out of it. My son loves that game too.
Same ranking and everything.
Yeah, that's what threw me off. My number 3, I don't know if you guys know this one, but Red Faction.
I know it, but I never really played it.
I played it, and I did enjoy it because it was one of the first games where the environment was destructible.
Exactly. That's what made it so much fun. You needed a door, you made one.
Exactly.
Fully destructible environments made that game way too much fun. It had a really good story to it. I was addicted to it. Number 2 is really close to my number 1 in terms of amount of time I played on the console, but Final Fantasy 11.
I never played that because at the time I wasn't into online gaming.
It was my second MMO I ever played. First one was EQOA. And then
See, the reason why that wasn't on my list is because I also played the absolute snot out of that game, but I played it on PC. I think I might have had it
Okay,
on...
that was the one I was surprised with on your list, so...
I might have had it on Super Nintendo. I mean, not Super Nintendo,
PlayStation
PS2.
2.
I don't even know if I had it on PS2. I played it on the PC, yeah.
Okay.
I know it was cross-platform. You could play together.
It was. I played
so
Final Fantasy 11 on PC probably like 3 years after on the... And I was blown away how much better the graphics were on PC. It was night and day different. I played a white mage, and that was the healer for everybody all the time.
Y'all can never play that game again.
Yeah, we can. It's still live.
I know.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Why can't I play it?
Because you don't have it.
I kind of do want to. You can download it for free.
My number 1 is SOCOM 2. It was the first pro team I was ever on for gaming, and it was a blast. They flew us to LA as a team once, and we actually were at a restaurant. They had paper mats for the table. We wrote strategies out for like 4 hours that night using the paper mats on the table. But that was it. That's my list.
My list had one game in common with y'all. Wait until y'all hear mine.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm waiting eagerly on pins and needles.
So I pulled an Archon. I have two honorable mentions just because there are so many games I played on this game. One of them's because I completely keep remembering going over to my best friend's house and playing this game at his house, and it was SmackDown. Because I liked it, because I could play as my favorite wrestlers, create a wrestler easily, and it had a decent storyline if you played the stories. And then Ace Combat 5 Unsung War. That's my 2 honorable mentions. Now, number 10, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2.
Oh, I love that game. I like the first one more. I almost put that on there. That would have been my number 11.
Then I put ESPN NFL 2K5 because that to me is the best video game football game ever made, hands down. No argument. Wish they get back to those styles of presentation in the games, but with EA Sports having the exclusive rights, they can screw up football all they want, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Yeah, that's a big problem with that.
Number 8, Need for Speed Underground.
Another Need for Speed.
Another great one, too. I forgot about that one.
This one I liked because of the car customization.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made that one so much fun. I spent hours doing that.
I loved it. Number 7 is Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. It's the only Metal Gear Solid game in this genre this era that made my list. Because I like Snake Eater way more than I ever liked Metal Gear Solid 2. Number 6, I could have put either any of them here, but I chose Vice City just because it's the most latest. Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
That was the most latest. San Andreas was
I
the
thought
last one.
San Andreas came... No, you're right. It was Vice City was later.
3, then Vice City, then San Andreas.
Okay. Well, either way, they all 3 could have gone in that spot because I played all of them all the way through nonstop. Yep. Then number 5, SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs.
Mm-hmm.
I played this game.
We got the same number on it.
I never played the online component. I only played the mission components.
The online was what made it so much fun.
Actually, to me, the actual strategy and going and doing the missions was what was fun to me.
But you had to have the online adapter, which was not the easiest thing in the world to get your hands on.
That's another reason why I didn't play it online.
Yeah. Yeah, I was justifying it for you.
Number 4, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Good game. I like the Battlefront games.
It was disappointing when EA came out recently with that hot mess. All right. I'm pulling an Archon cop-out here at number 3 because I can put any of these games in this slot. And
you got to pick one.
That is Armored Core.
Pick one that was like just squeaked out the most. You knew that question was coming. I did that to Archon.
I know. I'm trying to think of which one I liked most. I gotta remember all the titles because they had so many on the PS2.
I can't believe you'd cop out like that.
I know. I can't believe I pulled an Archon.
Despicable.
How dare I? Armored Core Nexus or Armored Core Last Raven. One of those two.
Still copping out.
Still copping out.
No, because I played both of those the exact same amount of time. But Armored Core Nexus. We'll go with that one.
All right.
Now, if you'll notice, I have another series on here that I actually specifically switched and had them spaced out. My number 2, take a guess at what it is.
SOCOM 2.
No idea.
Legit? You got to guess?
No.
Ace Combat 4, Shattered Skies.
Okay.
Oh.
Dude, Ace Combat will always be on my lists.
Well, you already had it on your list. You had it on your list, so.
And then number 1, none of y'all will ever guess this, and I still play the emulator for it to this day. Naval Ops Warship Gunner.
Oh, I was going to guess that.
No, you.
Sure.
No, I wasn't. I didn't even know that game existed.
And then there's also Naval Ops Warship Commander, which is actually kind of fun too. But Naval Ops Warship Gunner lets you build a ship. It gives you a hull and gives you so much weight the hull can carry and whatnot. And obviously it costs money, but you can build out ships any way you want. You can build them and it's World War II era up to modern days. And it's German, British, Japanese, and US style ships. And it's just fun to me to build those ships and just go balls out with the firing.
I love World of Warships. World of Warships is a blast.
See, the only problem I have with World of Warships is I don't necessarily like all online games like that.
Fair enough. So, like what me and Archon did with PlayStation 1, I thought it'd be fun to do it really quick. Metacritic has their top rated games for the PlayStation 2 and the bottom rated. And their number 1 is one I never would have guessed. But it's actually tied with the number 2. But it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 is the number 1 rated at 97.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Number 2 with a Metascore of 97. Grand Theft Auto 3.
I thought we were supposed to be guessing these. Aren't we supposed to guess these?
You can give it a shot.
You're killing me.
We only guessed them one time, I think.
The last episode we had you guys guess the top 10 best-selling N64 games.
Oh, yeah. See, I feel like the PS2, they'd be pretty easy to guess. Like, I guarantee you in the top 10, all 3 of the Grand Theft Autos are there.
Grand Theft Auto 3, Andreas, and Vice City. Yep. Number 5 is Andreas. Number 6 is Vice City.
I would say that Metal Gear Solid is there.
Which one?
Which one?
2.
Yes. Number 3
Three
or
is-
4?
3 is probably a little further down the list. Probably not far though.
It's not on the top 10. It's down there at number 13.
Oh,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's not far. Resident Evil 4.
No.
Yep. That's number 3 on the
Oh,
list.
yeah, I'm sorry. Resident 4. Yeah. Yep, number 3.
Here's one I'm surprised. Number 7. I am surprised none of us had this on our list.
I wasn't a big racing game, especially simulator based.
What Gran Turismo?
Yeah.
Yep, 3.
Devil May Cry, is that on the list?
Number 10.
Number 10. Jinx, you may go.
I'll send it to you.
I would say, I don't know.
You probably wouldn't get the next 2 because one of them is Madden 2002.
2003.
Oh,
Oh, that is 3. I keep forgetting Madden is 1 year ahead of.
Yeah, and number 9 was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that because there was already a Tony Hawk on the list.
Yeah.
But
The worst rated games, I've never heard of any of them except one of them.
I've heard of Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch is in the bottom 10 at a meta score of 32. I actually played it. I actually enjoyed it a little bit.
can we at least appreciate that I just got most of that top 10?
Yeah, because you were pretty right on your statement.
Fair enough. As long as you don't cheat, I'm going to have you do it again next week.
All right.
But I've never heard of this Godai
Yeah.
Elemental.
I never heard that one either. And the worst rated
Gravity
game
Games?
is Gravity Games.
I've never heard of that. It's a wannabe X Games game.
Yeah. That's the worst rated at a meta score of 24. And then they had at 33 was Mike Tyson.
Oh, we're just gonna skip over women's volleyball.
Yeah, no, I was getting to that.
There's a women's volleyball game on PS2 and a Mike
Yeah.
Women's
Tyson
volleyball
game.
championship.
I never knew they existed. And apparently they're really terrible.
Oh,
Apparently.
come on. They
Yeah.
got some Army. They got some Army Men game toward the bottom, and I like the Army Men games. Those are fun.
McFarlane's Evil Prophecy? What?
Never even heard of that.
Fugitive Hunter? Jeremy McGrath?
Oh, that game
Supercross?
was bad. That game was bad.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Fight Club?
Pimp My Ride. They made a Pimp My Ride game. I remember that show back in the day. I used to watch it all the time.
These bottom level games. They crack me up. I've never even heard of
And
them.
watch we go play them, and they just for old school nostalgic reasons are actually fun. Cartoon Network Racing.
You know, you want to know
Looney
one thing
Tunes
that
Arsenal.
does shock me? You know something that does shock me, though, guys?
What's that?
Widget's list. There's one game that's not on Widget's list that shocks me.
What's that?
The one that you've talked about numerous times about being one of the first big titles you ever worked on, and it's not even on your list.
Well, I'm not going to put it on my list.
You'd think it would be.
No, I can't stand playing that game. I worked on it. I don't like playing any of the games I worked on.
I feel like it would have like a special place in your heart. Yeah, right.
Wait.
Don't tell me you don't like playing Skyrim.
Okay, yeah, I admit I played the living snot out of that game because I did a show
Alright,
about it.
exactly.
And yeah, I did play a lot of Quake 3 Arena, like years
See?
after I worked on it,
You're,
years after. But he's talking about God of War
Well, why didn't it make your list?
because it's not in my top 10 played list games.
Because it's not that good of a game to some people.
Yeah, to some.
I'm surprised Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter was so low on Metacritic's list. It's on page 58 out of 60 with a Metascore of 44, and everybody wanted that game remade. That's the reason why recently they remade it.
Yeah, there are a lot of terrible games.
PlayStation 2 was such a great era, but
Just remember, PlayStation 2 is not that great of an era because they had American Idol video game.
okay, yeah.
I don't care. They made up for it with all the Guitar Hero games.
SOCOM.
They offsetting.
Bring me back some Guitar Hero, and I will be happy as can be.
We're going to wrap up the show with a review from Rook.
Yeah, so everybody out there that listens to the show religiously or are my friends know I love Star Trek.
Samesies.
However, I saw an article that popped up on my Google's newsfeed saying 8 reasons Star Trek Section 31, its reviews are so bad.
I was leery about this to begin with, so I'm really curious.
So I watched it. I watched all the way through. I laughed at some point, and I thought for a generic sci-fi movie, it was pretty good. But they leave out a lot of the things that make Star Trek. Even so, the best way to put it is this movie felt like Suicide Squad in the Star Trek universe.
That's a fail.
You got
Ouch.
this ragtag team. What's her name? I can't remember the actress's name. She's in it. She plays Giorgio. It's a ragtag team put together from Section 31 that has to go and save the galaxy. I thought they did a better job of showing the non-Star Trek Starfleet side of Star Trek in Picard Season 1 with Worf and Seven of Nine and all that.
Okay.
Like I said, it felt like a generic sci-fi movie. It did not feel like a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, that just makes it not worth watching right there.
The writing was on par with Suicide Squad. The story was
second dagger.
average and all that. Definitely didn't, like I said, I think it would have been better as a TV series where they had time to flesh everything out and actually work into her joining Section 31 and all that. Here's Screen Rant's quick 8 reasons. Number 1, it's a Star Trek movie in name only. Or number 8. Number 7, Star Trek fans wanted other stories more than Section 31, aka Star Trek Legacy, Seven of Nine's captaincy. Number 6, Section 31 doesn't work as an entry point for new Star Trek fans. Section 31's big cast lacks character development, which is true. There was nothing leading up to the development of these characters. Number 4, Section 31 has a boring Star Trek story. It is a sci-fi story, not Star Trek. Section 31 began life as a TV series, and you can tell. Number 2, Section 31 doesn't know what kind of movie it is. And then number 1, Section 31 wastes Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek comeback. And I really had to agree with that. I hate that I watch a Star Trek show I don't really like. I say Star Trek Undiscovered Country is way better than Section 31.
So I'm definitely not going to watch it.
To give you an idea of how bad it is, the critic review went down 1 percentage point as from Friday. It is now 19% based off 42 reviews on the thermometer. And the audience score is at 16%.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's on
rough.
par for the movies lately.
That's rough.
Hollywood has lost touch of what people want.
They don't listen to what people want.
And they don't. And that's why Hollywood's needs a bailout right now from the government. But I'm not getting to that.
There was one I read. If you actually go on Metacritic, you will see there are a few 5 stars here and there and higher star ratings, but on average, 1.5 to half a star.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it could be so much.
If you gave it a star review, what would you say?
Because it did entertain me at points, I'd probably give it 1.5 stars.
Okay. That's about what I thought you would say.
Yeah, if it was more in line with if they will have actually started it off as a movie and introduced the characters in the movie instead of the way they did it here. Spoiler alert, if you want to watch the movie, skip to the end of the show. They introduced the characters instantaneously as this is this person, this is this person, this is this person. It's like there's no character development of those characters. You can see where they tried doing character development, but it just was lacking. It definitely started off as a TV series. You know how Ocean's 11, you're introduced to each of these characters in the movie, and they give you a quick backstory of how they got to where they're at. This one doesn't even touch on that.
Ugh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Like, why should I care about these people now?
The only 2 it gives you a backstory on is Giorgio and the main enemy. That's it.
Yeah, okay. So that's a fail. Raw and nerdy, that's a fail.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you guys want to reach this show, best way to do that for like business or anything of that nature, suggestions, comments, podcastraw@gmail.com is our email. If you want to, the best place to reach out to us, to reach out to the community, the Raw Podcast crew, discord.gg/Raw Podcasts. If you don't know what Discord is, look it up. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why a lot of people prefer Discord over most anything else, social media wise anyway.
Did you imagine if Yahoo would have stayed around and we were still using that?
Yeah, I've had people question like, how do I join your Discord? Well, on your address bar on Chrome, or if you're one of those people that uses Edge, just type in discord.gg/Raw Podcasts and it'll take you right to it. You can just join the group right then and there. Our X is @PodcastRaw. Our Facebook is Raw Podcast. Our Instagram
is Raw Podcast 1, and hopefully soon me and Archon will start posting a lot more video content on there.
Awesome. And you can find us individually as well. I am at the Wigit, THEWIGIT, everywhere.
You can follow me as some variation of Tomcat213 or Rook213 and almost everywhere.
And you can find me as the Archon 606 on all social media or on all gaming platforms as quick QWICK_D_606.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and have a fantastic nerdy week.
Have a great week, guys.
See ya.